Shalom, shalom. Shalom, man. Giving all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of his only begotten Son, who is an instrument of salvation for our nation, the nation of the Israelites, right? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Go ahead and play the blowing of the shofar, and then we'll get into it, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Let's see here. Today's lesson is going to be about what is going to be on tomorrow, right? On the 25th, which is the destruction of Nicanor, or otherwise known as what? What else is it known for? Known as
The day before Purim.
another name for it is also Nicanor's Day, right? And so if you clicked on this video, man, this is for those who are wondering what the destruction of Nicanor is. If you had questions about it, trying to figure out, why you keep seeing it on your timeline. Who is Nicanor? You know what I'm saying? What's his significance? We're gonna get into a little bit about that today. All right, let me share my screen. And it won't take us all night. Right? We'll start in Second Maccabees 14 and 30. Why do we even have the day of Nicanor? Who is Nicanor? And why do we celebrate it on the 13th, I believe, of Adar, right? 13th of the month, Adar. We're gonna get into it all. Let's see here. We can start right here in Second Maccabees 14 and 30. We'll start from the top to the bottom.
Second Maccabees 14 and 30. Notwithstanding, when Maccabeus saw that Nicanor began to be churlish unto him, and that he entreated him more roughly than he was wont, perceiving that such sort of behavior came not of good, he gathered together not a few of his men and withdrew himself from Nicanor.
Right, man. And this is Judas Maccabeus. Judas Maccabeus, right? And this whole story is going to be kind of between Judas Maccabeus and Nicanor, right? So Nicanor, if you didn't know, a lot of people probably would assume that Nicanor was an Israelite, right? But he wasn't. Nicanor was a general, I believe, under King Darius the First, right? And he has some choice words to say. Let's read about Nicanor, verse 31. Second Maccabees 14 and verse 31. But the other, knowing that he was notably prevented by Judas's policy, came into the great and holy temple and commanded the priests that were offering their usual sacrifices to deliver him the man. Right, man. So Nicanor wanted them to deliver Judas unto him, right, by the Jews. And so he was petitioning for them in order for them to remain peaceful among them, right? He wanted Judas Maccabeus, right, as a prisoner. And so you had certain people that left from amongst him, and then you had certain people that, was like, hey, man, we're going to lose this fight. Just give him Judas. And these are, you see these men, right? Today we would call them Uncle Toms or Tio Tomases. Sambo, traitors, sellouts, right? And you always got a few of them. If you watch the movie A Birth of a Nation, what the whole reason why that operation came crumbling down was because of somebody like this. And this is why we always can't get nowhere. Whenever we try to uh, get our breakthroughs and revolutions and stuff like that, man, we're the ones that hold ourselves back, right? You see them today as if you know, you know, but you got people like Reverend Al Sharpton, right? You got your sellouts even now today. When Kyrie came out, these type of people are the people that say stuff like, "We're calling Kyrie, you idiot. Why would you do that?" You know, Shaq, Charles Barkley, people like that, right? Go ahead, brother Obadiah. You had something to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, Nicanor was a very, very, very prideful man. Just pay attention how he just walked into the holy temple. Just how he went in the holy temple commanding things. Like he just bit dog. That's how a lot of people think when they got a high ranking and they got rep and people respect them. They think that they can just do whatever they want to do. And Nicanor had that mindset of I can do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. So this is why we celebrate the destruction of Nicanor. The brother gonna get more into it, but this is one reason why we celebrate it because of his pride that he had against the children of God, man. You got it.
Con, man, right? And we see that today. There's really no respect when it comes to the sacred things of the Israelites, right? People normally take what we hold sacred as a joke. Um, we normally see it out on the street, on the highways and byways, right? We'll be talking to our own people. We'll be carrying on a lesson or whatever, and other nations just feel the need to interrupt you, right? In the midst of your speech. You might be getting into something good, and then they can't hold their patience, and they want to interrupt because they can't wait 30 seconds. And then when you tell them to hold on and wait or something like that, they get belligerent. They get they tell you that you're not holding your you're not holding your platform fair, stuff like that, man. But they deep down inside because they want to run it, right? Just like Nicanor, he deep down inside he wanted to run the things that we had, and that's something that we fight daily, even today. You know what I'm saying? The possessions that rightfully belong to us, and that's all throughout the Bible, right? That's why the Most High got to remind us that it belongs to us, that the oracles of God belong to us, the promises, all of this stuff, because everybody wants to lay hold on it, and everybody wants to come ransack it, you know. Let's go to the next verse. This is let me see. Let me go. I'm gonna skip this one right here. This is a key verse right here, verse 33. Come on, verse 33. He stretched out his right hand toward the temple and made an oath in this manner: If you will not deliver me Judas as a prisoner, I will lay this temple of God even with the ground, and I will break down the altar and erect a notable temple unto Bacchus. Right, man. So this is Nicanor, right? Like the brother Obadiah was just saying, he ran up in our spot, man, right? And the gall that he had, man, to point out the temple, right? And what this is, man, is blasphemy, right? The same blasphemy, uh, like the dude came in 300 when he said, you threaten the messenger, right? This is blasphemy." And he said, this is Sparta." Well, this what Nicanor was trying to do, man. He's like, "This is blasphemy." He said, "Nah, this is me. This is Nicanor, man. Right? This is the kingdom underneath King Darius." And that's what happens when you're dealing with other nations sometimes, is that there's no respect and there's no honor, right? And so this is the main reason why Nicanor had to be destroyed. This is the main reason why there had to be a destruction of Nicanor, because like, I don't understand why people don't understand is that you can't go out here and play the Most High. You can't go out here and blaspheme the Most High, no matter if, because you got to think, man, the Jews was down bad at this moment, right? And it probably would look like we didn't even have a God, You know what I'm saying? Probably looked like what we believed in was foolishness, because a lot like for a lot of things, like how we look at crystals today, how we look at Hinduism and stuff like that. Like, man, you believing in these fake guys, they don't do nothing for you, right? That's how people was looking at us. And so he probably had the gall to go in there and talk like that, because he probably didn't think there was any power left in what we had faith in, right? But one thing about the Most High, man, even in our punishment, he gonna let these other people know too when they cross a boundary, when they step across that line that doesn't need to be crossed. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the reasons why Nicanor, the main reason why Nicanor had to go, right? Because of the blasphemy that he did against the children of Israel. Not only children of Israel, but with the things that the Most High held sacred, right? You had something to say, Obadiah?
Yeah, man. I was gonna say, man, when he said he gonna lay the temple down, the temple of God, like he probably thinking like he don't understand that, bro. You saying something that's gonna like you saying a threat that's to God and it's gonna get you killed. He's saying that he gonna destroy our temple and he gonna erect a notable temple unto a pagan god. Like that's so disrespectful, man. And he probably did know how important the temple was to us. He's seen yeah, because he went in there when the priest was in there. He understand that was a sacred place, but the pride in his heart to destroy us and the pride that he had he wanted to deliver Judas, he didn't care what he was saying, man. That's just like we have a neighborhood, right? We have a so-called black neighborhood, and people come in and be like, we finna gentrify your neighborhood. Y'all finna have to get up out of here. And they kick us out our neighborhood and build up neighborhoods for them. They set up altars and make it look nice how they want it. And then even theirs. It was ours. So he's saying he's gonna come in, take our temple, right? Destroy our temple and put up what he want, right? In the temple. That's disrespectful, man. And you got to pay for that. You just had to pay for that.
God, man, that's a mighty point, man. And that's a lot of times that's what this is, right? This is literally gentrification. And the gall of him again says that he's going to erect up a notable temple, meaning like pretty much this disrespect to our temple, meaning like our temple wasn't even notable. It wasn't even. It was nothing, right? It was the ghetto. But I'm gonna get rid of that, and I'm gonna put something that's gonna be more in value, and that's what they do to us, man. Right? The things that we hold sacred, they don't care about, right? When they move us when they gentrify our homes and stuff like that, they don't care about your family's history in that old house, right? They don't care about you being able to come back and revisit the house you grew up in and stuff like that, right? They're gonna make it into something that they deem more valuable, and they're gonna move some white people in that guy. You know what I'm saying? But this is one of the main reasons right here, is because he blasphemed against the temple and the children of Israel. Right? We're gonna go to so this is Second Maccabees 14:33. And then we're gonna go to Second Maccabees 15 to get the story. Go ahead.
Salakia too. Salakia. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted you to stay in verse 14 for a second. I mean, chapter 14 for a second. Because a lot of people skip over why Nicanor did what he did. And like the brother said, and to that point, a lot of people think it was pride that Nicanor did these things. But that pride that you see through Nicanor was really the pride that he was working for somebody else. It wasn't Nicanor's pride. It was the pride of the person that sent Nicanor, right? If you go to verse 18, right, go back to 18, because what a lot of people don't know is, right, we understand the day of Nicanor as being a mighty, like we defeated Nicanor, right, which we should have, right? But Nicanor loved the Jews. Nicanor loved the Jews. We defeated Nicanor because he ended up being a traitor, right? Even though he was of another nation. This is why you can't trust fully in heathen, right? So if we read verse 18, it says, nevertheless, Nicanor, hearing of the manliness of them that were with Judas and the courageousness that they had to fight for their country, durst not try the matter by the sword. So first of all, he was scared of the Jews, right? Go to the next verse in verse 19, right? So at this point, he sent his men to the Jews, Poseidonus, Theodotus, and Mattathias, to make peace. To make peace. He wanted to make a peace treaty, which they did. Go to verse 24. Skip to verse 24, right? Skip to verse 24. So 24, it says, and he would not willingly have Judas. So he lived in Jerusalem for a time. That's what 23 is going into, right? 23 says, Nicanor abode in Jerusalem and did nobody no hurt. And he sent away the people because he was famous, right? Nicanor is famous for making this peace treaty. Verse 24 says he would not kill Judas because he what? And he would not let Judas out of his sight because he loved that man. He loved Judas. He was a fan of Judas, right? But 26 is the point that turns Nicanor into the traitor. It says, but Alchemus, perceiving that love that was betwixt them, right? One of Nicanor's men snitched on him and was like, considering the covenants, the peace covenants that was made, he went to King Demetrius and told what Nicanor was doing. He said, hey man, Nicanor down here having his best life with the Jews, right? And affected toward the state. And they pretty much were saying, hey, Nicanor's turned into a traitor for us. You need to make an order. So it says it ordained Judas a traitor. So pretty much the king Demetrius, he sent word to Nicanor like, hey, Judas is a traitor, slay him. And now Nicanor's conflicted like, dang, that's my homeboy. But Nicanor didn't give a dang. Nicanor said, whatever the king say must go. And that's when we see Nicanor turn and flip the tables on us. So think about how evil that is, because now it's like killing somebody from the inside, because he's got the love of the people, right? He's become a friend. He's inside. So this is how he's able to move so freely in Jerusalem, because everybody's like, man, that's Nicanor. That's bro. He's looking out for us, just for him to stab you when you're not looking, right? So that's really the evilness of Nicanor, is that he was a traitor. And he was not a man of his word when he made that covenant with the Jews.
Hey, man, if you read verse 30 again, man, where we started out, it says, notwithstanding, when Maccabeus saw that Nicanor began to be churlish unto him, and that he entreated him more roughly than he was wont, perceiving that such sour behavior came not of good, he gathered together not a few of his men and withdrew himself from Nicanor. Like the brother was saying, this is when, Judas had the wisdom to understand, hold up, man, he talking to me a little rough. He might have talked to him like he normally does, might say a joke, and the brother didn't laugh at the joke. He like, hold up, something not right.
Yeah, the Holy Spirit.
See that?
Yeah, the Holy Spirit, man. You saying it?
The Spirit gave him discernment. You see that? And then something told him he had to get up out of there, man. You know what I'm saying? And we see that oftentimes too. Sometimes you guys see it, you can see it on the highways and byways, but you more so see it like in the job field, right? If you work with Esau and stuff like that, when it comes to you buddy with Esau, but as soon as it comes down to a serious matter in front of the boss, he kind of throwing you under the bus, like, y'all wasn't with each other all the time, and we done seen people from other nations switch up on us out of nowhere, right?
Yeah,
and it's kind of got our heart a little hardened towards other nations, man. You know what I'm saying? People don't get why we're reserved, why we don't say much. You get into the people. There was a time where Israelites used to talk about their heathen counterparts at work and how they used to complain about, dang, Jamal, you don't want to talk to me? You don't want to have any talk while we ride to the place? And like, nah, man, just get us there. Let's do the job so we go home. And this is why, man, because a lot of us have experiences like this that's hard in our heart. I know both of y'all had a point. I don't know who was first out of you and Obadiah. Go ahead, brother Azrael.
Azrael can go home, yeah. Azrael can go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say an example of, like, man, it's been times where you may have a manager that tell you to do something, then you just following orders from your manager, think it's a normal day. Then somebody above your manager yelling at you like, why are you doing that? And your manager looking at you like, yeah, why are you doing that? You just told me to. They'll throw you under the bus in a heartbeat, right? They'll protect their honor before they have integrity to protect yours. They don't care about your if you got a family to feed or none of that. They just care about themselves. And that's the thing, and that's why the Most High God chose Israelites to be the chosen people, because we actually keep our integrity, right? We actually, right, we'll do things that we don't have to do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times our nation, if you look at Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man, a lot of times they do stuff for other nations they don't have to do because they keep their integrity. But that's how the whole earth should be. But the whole earth ain't like that, because why? The whole earth don't keep their integrity. They ain't like us. They'll flip the script quick. Now, Nick, when you read this, Nicanor, he ain't say nothing to Demetrius, bro. He didn't even try to combat it. As soon as Demetrius sent the order, he didn't even second guess it. This supposed to be a man that you love. That's crazy.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was
go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, man. I was gonna say that, like, if you truly love this man, like he was saying, you supposed to let this man know, hey, this was going on. But kind of like how with Jonathan and David, right? Jonathan had David back because he loved David. That's real love. He was letting them know, hey, my dad tripping. But with Nicanor,
Rahab the harlot.
Rahab the harlot, man. But it's like with Nicanor, he probably was more so, he was like the brother said, he was fearful of Judas, and Judas had a name. So he's like, okay, I get this my opportunity to be, cool with him. But soon as the order was who was it that called that order? What his name was?
Demetrius
said it. It's like Nicanor, it's like he changed, and that's why Sirach 12 said, never trust your enemy. It's like a switch change. He just started blaspheming. Just started getting disrespectful out of nowhere, man. That's why Sirach 12 say never trust our enemies, man. You got to be very aware, because they can be buddy in your face. One day, 1 hour. Then the next hour, they're acting like complete demons, man.
Throw hand join in hand.
Hey, that's how these police officers act too. These other nation police officers, they'll be buddy with you and let one of their lieutenants or somebody come on the scene. Next thing you know, they throwing you against your car. You be like, come on, bro, what's going on? They be like, hey, stop talking, bro. You like, bro, what you tripping for? We was just cool. Before they came in, you was having a good conversation. We was getting to the bottom, and now you acting like a butthole. And then, they want to make it seem like they wasn't even friends with you, right? Because they just worried about their job and their reputation.
Yeah, it was like a Vine, man. Not a few years ago, because Vine, of course, has been dead for a long time. But I remember seeing a Vine, man, when I was about in 10th grade. It was about 2014, and it was King Batch. That's King Batch was like the king of Vine. But to make a long story short, the Vine he was hanging out with his white friends, and then he told the white friend asked him, would you ever switch up? And he said, King Batch said, my dude, I'm never going to change. And then it switched literally from him saying that to some black dudes walking up, and then the camera panned back to King Batch, and King Batch had on some shades, and they said, yo, what up, my nigga Batch? He said, what it is, cuz. And then the white dude said, dude, are you serious? And he pointed at him. He was like, yeah. And he started walking off with the black dudes. You know what I'm saying? So just in reverse, that's how other nations, kind of do when it comes to, like, really just in general. You know what I'm saying? They quick to really make you feel like, oh, you got a friend in them. Like, the Toy Story, you got a friend in me. But then they switch up on you. Leave you at the dry.
Oh man, come on, man. It's a prevalent thing, man, that happens even today. That's why a lot of these stories for the old man, you can see them so clearly, because you can see things happening today that are very similar, right? This is 2nd Maccabees chapter 15, right? So they kind of get into it. We're gonna start at verse 25, and we're probably gonna go to like 35, 25 to 35, and we'll wrap it up. This is 2nd Maccabees 15 and 25.
Con, the book of Second Maccabees, chapter 15, starting at verse 25. Then Nicanor and they that were with him came forward with trumpets and songs. But Judas and his company encountered the enemies with invocation and prayer, so that fighting with their hands and praying unto God with their hearts, they slew no less than 30 and 5,000 men. For through the appearance of God, they were greatly cheered. Their
Right,
spirit,
man. So not to cut you off, but man, they prayed unto God, and through the help of God, they slew 35,000 men. 35,000 men, man. Right. And this just to show you that how serious the Most High takes blasphemy, right? And how serious, and just to, and I'll get into it after we read it, right? Verse 28.
Con, verse 28. Now, when the battle was done, returning again with joy, they knew that Nicanor lay dead in his harness. Then they made a great shout and a noise, praising the Almighty in their own language. And Judas, who was ever the chief defender of the citizens both in body and mind, and who continued his love toward his countrymen all his life, commanded to strike off Nicanor's head and his hand with his shoulder and bring them to Jerusalem. So when he was there and called them of his nation together and set the priests before the altar, he sent for them that were of the tower and showed them the vile Nicanor's head and the hand of that blasphemer, which Salakia, which with proud brags he had stretched out against the holy temple of the Almighty. And when he had cut out the tongue of that ungodly Nicanor, he commanded that they should give it by pieces unto the fowls and hang up the reward of his madness before the temple. So every man prays toward the heaven the glorious Lord, saying, Blessed be he that kept his own place undefiled. He hanged also Nicanor's head upon the tower, an evident and manifest sign unto all of the help of the Lord.
Right, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's how the battle went. Nicanor's head was on a stick and his tongue was cut out. Right. I think that's so dope because this is the Bible we talking about, man. A lot of people, when it comes down to fighting for what you believe in, getting ready to die for what you believe in, for your liberty and all of that stuff, when you stop thinking about marching, singing, protesting, right, doing all these hashtags and stuff, and you actually go get what you're looking for, that freedom that you're looking for. This is what it looks like. And some people would have said it was overkill after he was dead to cut his head off and put it on a stick, right? But this is what we did, man, right? He said, bruh, he stretched out against the holy temple of the Almighty, right? So I think it was probably outside the temple. It wasn't inside the temple. But, even bringing it that close to the temple, right?
I mean, and I'm not gonna lie too. That's not like an uncommon thing. I remember, I forgot, wasn't it Moses whose dowry was foreskins, or maybe I'm tripping. I know somebody had brought somebody like 100 foreskins.
Yeah, that was David to King Saul for
David,
his wife,
yeah. So like it, I
for,
knew I count wrong, but
for Saul's daughter, right? And so
right.
stuff like that, man. You read in the Bible, and nowadays people would tell you to stop. First of all, they wouldn't even want you to kill him. They'd probably tell you, "Hey, man, don't kill him, man. You just take him to prison for the rest of his life." Right? Let alone would people will sit there
Gotta
and
go.
let you cut off their head, right? People nowadays are too soft to let you do that, man, especially Christians. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's dope that this is how far we took it and how far and how serious we took it as well. You have something to say, Obadiah?
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, most of our feast days that we celebrate, and the days that's in the apocrypha as well too, it comes from the Lord delivering us from our enemies, man.
Right.
Like truly, almost all of them comes from the deliverance of the Lord delivering us from our enemies. But we know this one comes from one of our enemies blaspheming. You like the brother Denal saying, people will look at that like, what? I mean, you don't kill him, but you gotta understand, especially like when you read First and Second Maccabees, man, this is history. This ain't no fairy tale. You can look into. It speaks about Alexander the Great or Alexander the Greek in the first chapter. This is history. So these people, the Greeks, a lot of the Greeks and stuff, right, in these other nations, they wasn't only disrespecting us, but they was disrespecting our God, right? They was sacrificing pig, swine's flesh on the altar, right? They was doing going into the temple, taking stuff. So this is why for people wondering, this is why we had to do him so badly, because he just didn't disrespect us, but he disrespected our God, man. So that's why we had to cut his head off, cut his tongue off, and cut his finger. We did him dirty, man. We did this man dirty. But all praise to the Most High, man, because he did us. He was thinking about doing us dirty, man. So all praise to the Most High.
Okay, yes, I say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, as you know, it's in our culture, and it's promised to us to have the necks of our enemies. So it was in our culture for us to win wars and do stuff like this. For example, you know, Judith in the book of Judith, she's a woman, and she ended up cutting a brother's head off and putting it in her bag, taking it back up the mountain and showing the people, is this the man that, you know, is this the man y'all was worried about? Then they put that head on a stick and put it up so that all the other camps could see it as well. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't the first time, you know what I'm saying? This is, you know, the Lord is a man of war, man. And the Lord is his name.
Come on, man. People forget that the Lord is a man of war, man. And this Bible is a real thing, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think nowadays people have forgotten how real it is, and they conflate what is holy and what's not. And this right here, man, this action right here would be considered something holy, man. You know, and something that the Most High would approve of. And I know that would get under a lot of people's skin, but it is what it is, and it goes into the destruction of Nicanor, right? When we talk about the destruction of Nicanor, we're not talking about the destruction of a structure or a building or something. We're talking about the destruction of him, right? Taking his head off and cutting his tongue out is literally the destruction of him. But it's everything that he said he was going to do to our temple. It's everything that he said that he was going to do to our sacred things is what we did to him, right? And one thing I want people to understand is that this is very symbolic when we commemorate it every year. That's why it was commemorated to do annually, right? What verse is that, man? I think it was verse 36. If we could read verse 36.
Con, verse number 36. And they ordained all with a common decree in no case
Kind
to
of
let
broke
that
up there.
pass without
Y'all
solemn.
still hear him? Dang, it broke up on my end.
Can you hear? Am I breaking up? Oh, Con. Well, Second Maccabees, what is this? Chapter 15, and verse
Let me
30.
know when he's done.
And it says, and they ordained all with a common decree in no case to let that day pass without solemnity, but to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month, which in the Syrian tongue is called Adar, the day before Mordecai's day. Mordecai's day, which is Mordecai.
He's done.
For some reason, on my screen it's buffering, and like it's, I don't know, but Khan, man, right? Oh, there you go. He popped back up. But it says, but to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month, right? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I just make sure my Wi-Fi ain't finna go out. But the 13th day of the 12th month, man, which is the month of Adar, right? This is why we commemorate it every year, is to let us know how the Most High will fight on our behalf, even when we're down bad, right? When you're trying to compare the times we're in right now to times in the Bible, I speak as a man, but the closest times I think you can compare it to is the Maccabees, right? They were down bad. Things wasn't really going their way, and they had to navigate throughout heathens and stuff like that, and being oppressed and being subject to, just like we are today. But it's important to know that the Most High will still fight for us even in our captivity, man. You know what I'm saying? And he still doesn't take blasphemy lightly. And this was talking about the temple, but when we get into the scriptures, it talks about how touch not God's anointed and do his prophets no harm. Best believe he's still working on our behalf today, even though he seems to be a little bit quiet, right, as we suffer through the things that we suffer through. But it's all for a purpose, man. But I love uh, days like this, feasts like this, holy days like this, because it reminds us that he's still got our back, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's good to meditate on, to let us know that he still don't play about us. He still don't play about his, right? And so never make that mistake of thinking that this was just a little breakdown of the destruction of Nicanor. If you didn't understand why Israelites celebrate it, why it is a thing, this is what it's all about. Brothers, had anything else to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, we cut his hand off. That's the hand he pointed at. You know, we cut his tongue out because he was talking crazy. So it's just like we did it. It was all it was all for a reason. You know, it was all for a reason, and it just to show that, like the brother said, man, you gotta take the Lord serious. You know, you gotta take. And this is why the Lord is so angry at America, which is Babylon the Great, because they blaspheme the Lord all the time in their movies. You know, these comedians and in the music, you know, they blaspheme the Lord all the time, man. And what happened to Nicanor is an example of what's going to happen to a lot of these elites, these Rockefeller, Rothschilds, the people that's in Hollywood, or even the people that we see every day that blaspheme the Lord. It's going to happen to them the same way it happened to Nicanor. It's going to happen to them, man. So that just shows the Lord ain't playing, man.
Come man. Anybody else?
Man. Well, I will say one thing. Uh, if you didn't know Nicanor before, definitely get to know him now because again, man, symbolism. It was a beautiful thing to have the head of your enemies on a stick. I know people look at it weird, but it was just it was just a sign of victory. So uh, we need the same thing in the spirit, man. Take the head of our enemy spiritually, put it on the stick, man. Hold it up, let them know that the enemy is defeated. Become right.
And and Salakia, then he make a treaty with Judas. There wasn't Didn't Nicanor make a treaty or a promise to Judas, and he broke that. So he didn't even care about the treaty, the promise that he made with Judas. He said to hell with that. So that just shows when it comes to these other nations, man. You know, you really can't. You don't know. You can't really fully trust them especially when they say, "Okay, we go. I promise I won't do this," and you know, I put it on my parents, or we can make this treaty. I'm honest with you. Come on, man.
Yeah, that goes into politics in the government too. A lot of people trust in the government and promises that they make during their campaign speeches and stuff, and then be confounded once that person sits in office. How could they do this? They didn't say they were going to do this. I didn't know it was going to be like this. Stop putting your trust in Egypt and your trust in Pharaoh, because it's going to amount to nothing. They say that they're helping you for a vain cause. It's all vanity, right? And it's really because they're afraid of you. And it's really because they understand the power you have and the influence you have. But at the end of the day, they don't mean you well. They'll flip on you as soon as they can, right? They'll flip on you as soon as they can. So, hey man, it's all lessons in all of these feasts and holy days, man. So, come
Come man. Man, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys were a little bit edified and learned about the destruction of Nicanor, man. As we bring it in tomorrow, on the 25th would be our 13th of Adar. If you guys haven't celebrated, didn't plan on celebrating, feel free to join in with us tomorrow as we remember what happened to Nicanor, man. And might as well throw a prayer up for all the Nicanors in your life, right? That the same outcome comes to them. And the Most High will hear you, man. Just like the Most High heard them, the Most High will hear you. But with that being said, man, we give all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of his only begotten Son, who's an instrument of salvation for our nation, the nation of the Israelites. right? Where our king came out of, who also said, if you're not gathering, you're scattering, right? So gather together, O nation, not desire, man, right? So we can destroy the Nicanors that come against us. And we'll see you guys next time, tomorrow, Lord willing. We say shalom, shalom, and shalom.